Hi guys, Giant T here with a 9th Age battle report. It's the the Empire of Sonnstahl, I think it's pronounced, and the Dwarven Holds versus the Vampire Covenant and Orcs and Goblins. We're playing a classic deployment with hold your ground secondary objective, with using the dangerous train in the middle of the table as our marker. So it's 2,000 points aside, each army using 1,000 points under the warband rules. So we're going to go into the Orcs and Goblins list. He's got a feral orc list, so everything he's got on there is frenzied. He's got an orc chief with a great weapon and plate armor, talismans of supreme shielding, and he's mounted on the war boar. Orc Shaman level 1 with the Path of Wilderness, Ring of Fire, 35 Ed Bashers with full command, and this Icon of Relentless Company, 9 mounted Ed Bashers with additional hand weapons, and again full command there with the Ironhide banner, and he's bought himself a Git launcher. So quite a hard hitting orc list there, especially you know, he rolled the beast within, so +1 strength, +1 toughness is quite nasty for that. We're going to go into what the vampires bought for you. He's got the vampire courtier as a level 1 on wilderness. He's got the bestial bulk and the Sigori bloodline upgrades, and he also got an unholy tomb. He's got a wraith with great weapon as a hero choice. Going into his core, he's got 2 units of 5 direwolves and a unit of 25 ghouls with full command. For his specials, he's got 5 ghasts and 3 spirit hosts, and going for his rare, he's got a unit of 5 wraiths. Now those wraiths are pretty nasty things, so I don't really want to be going anywhere near them, to be honest. So again, quite a tricky little 1,000 point army there to deal with, especially all those inferior things flying around. So we're going to go on to what the Empire have brought with them. He's got a marshal on a great griffin. He's got a 2 up and a 4 up. He's got the hero sword, hardened shield, a talisman of supreme shielding. He's got a preacher with a 2 up armor save. He's got dragon scale helm, heavy armor, a flaming lance, mounted on a horse. 11 elector cavalry with great weapons and full command. He's got a banner of leadership. For his specials, he's got a cannon, and for his rare, he's bought the steam tank. Now for the dwarfs, you know, I've messed around with a few of my units here. I didn't really want to bring a more powerful list than I could have done. I just wanted to see what could deal with what, and I bought quite a tame list, really, in my mind. So I've got a Thane as my general, and he's been upgraded to a clan leader. He's got a shield, a pistol, Rune of Mountains, and the Rune of Resistance. So he's got like a 3 up armor save. He's got no ward, but he is toughness 6, and my opponents have to re-roll their successful wounds on him. So it's not too bad, and he actually confers fighting extra ranks on the unit. We've got 26 clan warriors with spears and shields, so again, fighting extra ranks, so they should be fighting in 4 ranks from the unit there. And that clan warrior's got the banner of courage. I've got a catapult and 10 miners for my specials. Catapult's got a flaming rune on, and I've got a banner on my miners. I've got a grudge buster for my rare, and 14 seekers with a banner as well, coming in exactly 1,000 points. So the evil army got first turn because they deployed everything first, and we'll just go to a picture for vanguards. The early vanguard was the 2 direwolves coming down the flank on the left hand side. So in the evil army's first turn, we see the mounted Ed Bashers. come down the flank as far as they can. And the Ed Bashers in the Horde use the Icon of Relentless Company to do a 12-inch march move, and they're trying to hem us in that corner. The Vampire Covenant come shambling forward as fast as they can. The Inferior units are heading for the dangerous train in the centre of the table. This is actually our hold your ground piece to get closer to us. Not a bad magic phase for them to start with. The only spell they managed to get off is the Beast Within on the Mounted Ed Bashers unit. Yeah, it makes them quite strong now. I think they're strength 5 now on the first round of combat, so could be quite tasty. The Git Launcher goes to shoot for Captain Courageous on the Great Eagle. There he is at the end of the table there, and misfires, hey, and causes himself a wound. Fantastic. So, our plan was to stay around this bottom right-hand corner here, and to deal with the Orcs and Goblins, and then to try and come around the flank and mop up the Vampire army. So the only charge we do is the Elector Cavalry into the Ed Bashers, which fail absolutely miserably. So there's no other charges here. The Steam Tank rolls to try and get into the flank of the Ed Bashers to try and slow them down, but misses by about 4 or 5 inches. And so for normal movement, I put my Seekers as far up as I possibly can in front of the Ed Bashers to try and bait them off, because at the moment we do not want them going into our lines. Absolute stonking magic phase here. I mean, I don't have any magical use, so it's all down to the Empire, who manages to get all of his buffs off on that unit. So they've got the flaming hits, they've got the 5-up ward and the rerolls to hit. Into shooting the cannon, the only option really for him is the Ed Basher unit, and he kills 3 of them. Not bad, 3 out of 4. The Dwarfs Stone Thrower goes for the primary threat there, which is the Dire Wolves, and kills 3 of them, so it's not too bad. And the Grudge Buster goes to shoot at the big unit of Ed Bashers again and does nothing. So the big unit of Ed Bashers charge into the Seekers, and the mounted Ed Bashers attempt to charge the Elector Cavalry. That's going to be an interesting fight. We've got our 5-up ward rerolls to hit and our flaming attacks as well. He's got +1 strength, +1 toughness. I think we should win that by at least 1 that fight, I'm hoping, but it's going to be quite tough. Very quick picture of them making it in there. Again, that's going to be a tough fight. A quick overview of what it looks like down in that bottom flank. So we go on to what the vampires did for movement. Again, very, very slowly shambling towards us, just setting up for any counter charges there. So yeah, not nothing too major with them. The Git Launcher goes for Captain Courageous on his Great Eagle and causes him a wound. Combat here then with the big Ed Basher unit and the Seekers. I gave my Seekers additional hand weapons, paired weapons as it is now, to get the same initiative, and I think I only kill about, I think it's 4 or 5 there, maybe 6, but he's got so many attacks coming back at me, he peels off 10 of my Seekers. He wins combat by miles, but I'm unbreakable and stay. So this was absolutely diabolical. He rolled like a demon in this combat. This is a picture of just the unit strike in itself. So the general hasn't even hit yet, so he's killed most of it. And then the general takes the rest of the unit off, and he's left with his character, and subsequently run off the table and cut down. Yeah, I'm pretty gobsmacked by that, to be honest. I thought we would have probably won by 1, like I said, but no, we got absolutely hammered in that combat. Yeah, it's changed our plans a little bit down in this corner, I think. So into Dwarven Holds and the Empire turn. I forgot to say last time in the opponent's turn they moved the wolves in front of the steam tank and they reformed the unit like so. So the steam tank goes into the wolves, and the Captain Courageous and his eagle go into the front of the unit, and the Grudgebuster into the flank. So we need some help, so we're going to call it the miners to get rid of the Git launcher, and they are lost underground somewhere and don't turn up just yet. So down in the bottom corner I turn my spear unit around, so I know he's got a turn on his turn, and then I can charge him on my next turn. Shooting then goes for the ghasts. It's quite close range, so it should get something, but it rolls a misfire and you can't shoot this turn or next. The stone thrower, being magical, can actually go for the wraiths here and cause them some damage, which is quite nice without them having their 2-up ward save. Gets a direct hit on them and kills 2 of them. So it's not too bad. I would have liked one more, but 3 in the unit's not so strong now. The steam tank makes short work of the wolves and just stays where he is like so. So into combat. The Grudgebuster and Captain Courageous only do 7 wounds to the Ed Basher unit there. We lose combat, and Captain Coward ends up running. The Ed Bashers turn to face the Grudgebuster, who took a wound through the combat. So it doesn't look too good there either now. Okay, so they go to the top of their turn 3, where it takes the rest of his spirit hosts into the steam tank. I'm a bit worried about that because they're at their AP 6, so it's could be quite bad for the steam tank there. Takes his spirit host and his direwolves into the stone thrower. They both make it in. Moves his gas up a bit closer to try and get a rear charge on his next turn into spears. He rallies his pig cavalry and sacrifices general by putting them in front of my spear unit. The magic phase, I don't remember them getting anything off in this, so it's not too bad for us. And their Git launcher fires at my spear unit to try and whittle them down a little bit, and only kills 1 of them. Happy times. So into combat then with the spirit hosts and the direwolves. I think he attacks with the direwolves and only manages to kill 1 of the stone throw crew, and the crew managed to kill 1 back and pass their break test, sorry, the panic test for losing. Here we find the Grudgebuster already doing 2 wounds, and I think it takes a couple himself, but manages to pass his test as well. The steam tank kills 1 wraith, but loses combat by 1. And unbreakable, so he stays there. And a quick overview of what the table looks like here. So here the spear unit with my Thane general in there decides to charge his general, and we make it in. Now I've got, I think there's 12 attacks come into his general, maybe 13 with the champion. And ranks and a charge, I'm either going to kill him outright or chase him off the board there. Either way, I'm quite happy with that. Captain Coward is now Captain Courageous again. He manages to rally and turns to face the oncoming slaughter of the ghasts. Again, we give a shout out for the miners to see if they turn up and to get rid of that Git launcher at the far end of the table. You know, they've got to try and earn their gold somehow, but again, they fail miserably, and I think they've gone to the wrong battle site. So no gold for those boys. The fight with the steam tank continues. I think he takes a wound on this one and dishes out a wound, and he stays there, unbreakable. So here, his general does 3 wounds to my unit, and I'm attacking in 4 ranks here because of the famed clan leader and the spears. So I think I've got like 12 or 13 attacks going at him, like I said, and I only do 1 wound to him. 1 wound. It's disgusting. I can't believe it. But anyway, we'll go on to the Grudgebuster combat. Now this thing's woken up a little bit, and he's cracked on about 5 or 6 wounds there, and has taken a couple back himself. I actually lose combat with ranks and banners and stuff, but I think it's only by 1 and managed to stick. And here with the stone thrower again, I think he puts the ghosts into attack, and they kill 1. I don't kill anything, and the stone thrower sticks. So turn 4 for the evil army here. The ghasts line up an attempt to rear charge the spear unit, and the mounted Ed Bashers go for a rear charge against the Grudgebuster. That's only got 1 wound left after his 2 rounds of combat. So into their magic phase again. I think we dispelled everything there. The Git launcher here goes for Captain Courageous again, and subsequently sticks another couple of wounds on him, so he's getting quite peppered at the moment. Into close combat, the Spirit Host and the Direwolves finally finish off the last wound on the Stone Thrower, and the Steam Tank finally finishes off the last Wraith, but has taken a bit of punishment there. Yeah, the Grudgebuster gets absolutely nailed in this combat. The Spear Clansman finally finish off the general, will take 2 wounds back, and then the ghasts absolutely rip them a new one. Oh my god, that was disgusting. It's an automatic break and we get run down. So we're slowly running out of options now, coming into our turn, I think it's 4. And very, very quickly running out of troops and army to give those options to. So as we go into the charge phase, Captain Courageous and his Great Eagle mount an offensive attack against the Ed Bashers, and the Steam Tank goes into the front. And now we give a desperate call out for those miners to turn up, which they do at long last. Now the plan is to try and kill that Git launcher, then come contest the objective in the centre of the table. The cannon shoots at the mounted Ed Bashers, but unfortunately misses. So we go into close combat then. The General, the Griffin and the Steam Tank deal a whole load of wounds to the Ed Basher unit, but unfortunately the General dies. We win combat and the Ed Bashers break. Unfortunately that the Steam Tank cannot pursue or overrun, so this is how it looks at the end of our turn. So obviously no panic for the mounted Ed Bashers there, because they're actually frenzied as well. Turn 5 for the evil army. The Direwolves declare a charge against the cannon, and the Wraith character declares a charge against the Steam Tank. Direwolves make it in, as does the Wraith, and the Ed Bashers actually declared a charge against the Steam Tank as well and made that in. I'm not sure if that Steam Tank's going to be around much longer, to be honest. The Ghouls have done pretty much what they've done all game and just sit in the centre of the table there, and the Spirit Hosts come closer to the flank of that Steam Tank. The Ed Basher unit rallies just on his musician and into magic, which I think they gave the Spirit Hosts the extra movement to get a bit closer. Direwolves finish off the cannon. The Steam Tank take out 3 of the mounted Ed Bashers, but loses combat by res. He's taken a few wounds himself, but we stick around on there. So top of turn 5 for the good army looks a bit like this. Not a lot left, unfortunately. The miners with their great weapons declare a charge against the Git launcher and make it in. So there's no shooting, no magic. The steam tank finish off the mounted head bashes, take a few wounds itself, but can't do anything against the Wraith, and we kill the Git launcher. Turn to face towards the ghouls. So in the last turn for the evil army, the Spirit Hosts and the Ed Basher unit decided to try and charge the steam tank. Both units making it in. Now, I don't think that's going to be around very much longer, unfortunately. No shooting to talk of. So right at the very, very last depths of the game, they pull out a whopping magic phase, which sees them getting off Beast Within on the Ed Basher unit, and Van Hells, I think it was, on the Spirit Host. For rerolls to hit, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think that's right. I'm 9% sure now. So, as suspected, the steam tank dies a horrible, horrible, horrible death. So, the final turn for the Empire and the Dwarfs, the miners go for a brave, daring attempt to charge the ghouls to try and contest the objective. To be honest, I think I should win that round of combat. With I wouldn't say it's going to be easy, but I reckon I should win by at least 1 or 2 there, and hopefully get what we need. So there's no magic, no shooting, so we'll go straight into combat. They kill 2 and I'll kill 5, so win by 1 on that one. I did measure. Well, sorry, we did measure the objective zone, but I think we're slightly out on it. So points and victory therefore goes to the evil army. Final thoughts then for MVP and worst unit. For the Vampire counts, their best unit for me was the Wraiths, the small unit of 5 Wraiths, because they just held up that steam tank for a fair while. And the worst unit for me for them was the ghouls, because they didn't really do a lot. Personally, I would like to see them get into combat a bit more, but I understand why you kept them by the objective. For the Orcs and Goblins, had to be his mounted Ed Basher unit for just absolutely ripping that Elector Cavalry to pieces in 1 turn, which I think shocked all of us, to be honest. His worst unit, he said, was the unit of Ed Bashers, because they couldn't do in the Grudge Buster by themselves. Going into for the Empire, their best unit was the steam tank by far, and the worst unit, my mate turned around and said his worst unit was definitely the Elector Cavalry for getting done in by the pig unit. So go on to Dwarfs. So my worst unit has definitely got to be the miners. You know, I think that if they turned up a bit earlier, we could have come down and helped out with the fight. Maybe we probably wouldn't have done a lot of damage, but we could have certainly helped out when it was needed. And my best unit, you know, I was going to say the Spearman, but out of 24 attacks, only just managed to kill his general. Which is probably about right, but I expected a bit more from the spears against that, especially when they've got lethal strike against cavalry. So I've got to go for the Grudge Buster. You know, it didn't do a great deal of damage in the first couple of turns it was in combat, but then it woke up and you know we could see what it could do. And it's a proper little anvil unit as well, so it's quite nice. And we all agreed it's spot on for its points value when we had a look at it and went for its stats and everything. So victory wise, obviously we got absolute tabling. I think there's about 1,000 points difference between us, so it's going to be a 20-0 to the Vampire Covenant and the Orcs and Goblins. And that's that. So you know, I'm gonna leave it there. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and I'll try and get back to you if I can. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye.